captured in what's configured and exported to the what's configured plugin of what's of gold. So now they match, I guess you could say. Okay, so let's go back to what's configured again. Whoops, there we go. And that's probably the easiest thing to do, is just create a task to back up a running or a startup config for a device, run it, and then make sure you actually have a configuration captured. And once you do, export it and make sure it shows up in what's of gold in both the web and the console. The other things that you can export are policies. So we'll just talk about policies for a minute. A policy is really just a rule set, or almost a template that can be compared against. So it'll be easier to explain if I just make one. So we'll call up a policy called has the word Cisco, and pattern will be Cisco. What this literally means is when a configuration task is run, what's configured can look at the captured configuration for the word Cisco. It's going to scan this entire thing looking for the keyword or phrase or regular expression, that it can evaluate against or whatnot. It's basically a check to make sure that this file has something or doesn't have something. That's why they call it a policy. It's a set of rules, that the configuration will be compared against. And that plays into the task itself. Under threshold here, the customer can be emailed if it fails the policy. And again, the policy can be, does it have this word or this phrase, or does it have this or that, or does it not contain this? It should contain the word Bob but doesn't. It can be a positive or a negative, but basically, if it fails the policy audit, we'll call it, then the threshold is reached and an email notification is sent. None of this is important for exporting, but I'm just sort of explaining ahead here. So you can create all of these policies, and which are used or can be used when you're running a task. And of course, back to exporting, we can export the policies. Now, before I do it, let's go check inside of what's of gold. In the console, it's under configure, and here you'll notice that they're exactly the same. They just have the word what's configured in front. Now, these will be gray unless you have a license that has the what's configured plugin activated for what's of gold. So if these are gray, you need to get a new license. So here's the policy arc. What's configured policy library, and well, let's get that out of there. Sorry. So it's blank or empty, and if we go back here to what's configured, and we say I want you to export. So export complete. We'll go back to what's of gold, configure what's configured policy library, and there it is. Has the word Cisco. And if we open this guy up, it should be exactly the same. Name, description, pattern. Again, this can get pretty complex. You can use regular expressions and all sorts of things for either the include or the exclude. But in its simplest form, it can just look for a single word or phrase, and if it's there, great. Or if it's not there, that can also be a failure, depending on whether you use include or exclude. But again, we're only talking about exporting, and the fact that it made it over here, that's good. In the web interface, again, it's located under Other Plugins, and we go to What's Configured Policy Library. And there it is, where it did not exist before. Audit is, of course, that's you can force an audit of this policy outside of the scheduled task. You can just like right now, let me see if this policy is good against any of the configurations I've already captured. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back to what's configured standalone, And that's the thing to keep in mind, is remember, it's hard, sometimes hard to keep straight that there is a what's configured standalone and a what's configured plugin to WhatsUp Gold. They do the same things, but they're sort of sold. I mean, they're sold together, but they could have what's configured standalone on one machine and the plugin along with WhatsUp Gold on another if they wanted to. The plugin, the part of WhatsUp Gold, is not quite as robust as the standalone yet. They're reaching for parity. They want them to be exactly the same, but they've been developed a little bit out of step at the, for the time being. So if we go back to libraries and export, the last thing is the script library, and we will again go to WhatsUp Gold. Let's go to the web first this time, and here's the what's configured task script library, and we'll click on this, and we'll see we have the standard backup and running. I've edited this because I was goofing around, but it shouldn't say that. But these are the standard 2 scripts that come with what's configured. Okay, whether it's the plugin or standalone, we have a backup running and a backup startup. Those are default, and you're not supposed to be able to edit them, but there's a bug right now, so and you can't actually edit it. But same thing in the console. We'll go to the task script library. Here they are: backup startup, backup running. Now let's quickly go to what's configured, and we will go to, again, these are the same, they just don't have the words what's configured in front of it because it's sort of redundant. We're in what's configured. This time we're not in a plugin, we're in the standalone. So if we go to the task script library, these are 2 new ones that were introduced. Remember, I said there was some parity issues right now with the standalone versus the plugin. So these 2 are new. You don't really need to worry about them. They will export though, so you'll see these 2 show up when I export in a moment. And I'm also going to just make a dummy one and call it test task script. And a couple of random letters. Say at, and just something simple. So here it is, our custom script, and custom scripts are of course for devices that the default scripts don't work against. A backup running config will work against many different devices, but there's so many different vendors of routers and switches, and even different models within the same vendor. Some really old Cisco devices don't respond well to even our most generic script, so users have to create their own. And that's where this script library comes in. Just backtracking just a little bit, you'll notice in the task library I said backup running config, correct? If we edit this guy, we chose backup running config. If this didn't work and they had to write their own script, well, they would use they would choose their own script instead of the generic one. But again, we're only talking about exporting for the moment, so if they have created their own custom scripts and they choose to export them, that's pretty fast. Now we will again start with the console, configure task script library, and hey, now we have not just backup, running, and startup. We also have those 2 new specialty scripts that we'll talk about later, and the one that I just created, the test task script. And I'll click close. We'll go to the web, and we will go to what's configured task script library. And again, here were the 2 original ones that were in the plugin. Here are the 2 new fancy firmware update scripts, and the one that I just created. And of course, if we edit it, it should be exactly the same description, same script. And that pretty much covers updating in a nutshell. I'm not updating, I'm sorry, exporting. And that's pretty much it. I hope this helps, and have a good day.